Okay, hi there everybody. Thanks for joining Internetrix's third webinar series in our COVID business support webinar series for 2020. Today's topic is to open your business online store in less than a day with no coding. So here we are, off we go. I'm Jacinta Cali, I'm a director at Internetrix and I love design, tech and data. I've been in this industry for over 12 years and I'm really passionate about helping businesses improve the way they operate online and helping them grow. So here we are today, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm helping businesses get online and get growing and being successful. Before we get into the thick of things, I've got a bit of housekeeping, and that is that because this is a live stream, we are open for questions. You can pop a question in as we go along and we'll answer them at the very end. There's a little bit of time allowed for that, so just pop them in. I think it's over there on that side, and we can answer your questions. If you have any ideas, feedback or suggestions, that's also welcome too. You can put that in the same questions prompt. And also lastly, there's some valuable resources down below which will help you in with this topic, as well as some few extra things. So why business support for COVID-19? Internetrix is a 20-year-old agency who have been building and developing and analyzing website technology that whole time. And why I want to help people do it themselves and do it in a day and not do any coding is because it's possible and I have that knowledge to share. So to support our community during this crazy coronavirus time, I want to share that knowledge with you for free. The impact's widespread. You can see it across the board. Something like 90% of businesses have been impacted by the pandemic, and that might be across your whole business, or it could be just your supply chain, staffing, demand. Overall, it's just pretty negative, and this webinar for today has been targeted at a specific industry, and we've decided to choose one of the most highly impacted industries, and that's the restaurant industry. So airlines, hotels and restaurants, they're the most noticeably impacted by mainly the social distancing rules and regulations that have been put in place. And some restaurants have been forced to go online because they can no longer have their clientele come in the way they normally would. And that's a bit of a problem, and that's something we wanted to address in today's webinar. So for this to be possible, I've got an example business. We've called it Cafe IRX. That's just short for Internetrix, bit of an internal name. And this business is representing a small business that has been, it's an existing business that's been impacted by COVID-19. They're new to offering takeaway food and drinks. They've done it a little bit, the odd coffee takeaway here and there, but not to this extreme. And they're really heavily relying on phone orders and foot traffic. Foot traffic has reduced significantly, so they're struggling. They need a website to take their online orders that will improve the accuracy of those orders being taken. Plus, it'll mean they collect the money up front and there's no risk of people not showing up to collect their orders, which is something that they've had happen. They don't have any capital and they've had to let some staff go. So how are they going to get online? They're going to follow this webinar today. Now, for you to do a website setup very quickly, it pays to be organized and be prepared. So here's a bit of a checklist of things you want to gather together before you get started. You can still do this in a day, I promise you. It can be done, especially for Cafe IRX. So the first thing is to gather all the products that you're going to sell, or at least the ones you want to launch with to start off with, and have the description for those products as well as the price and any variations noted down so you can pop that into your new website really quickly. It really pays to have your own images, so if you do have the time, I'd highly recommend taking some photos of your products or your cafe in this example, just to use on your site to make it more authentic. However, if you don't have that kind of time or resourcing, there's some free photo websites out there. I've put a link below to my favorite, unsplash.com, and you can go there and find royalty-free images that you can use on your website. Definitely have a copy of your logo handy. You're going to need it when you set up your new site so that your new site is branded to your business. Have your ABN and tax info handy. That helps in the registration process, so you don't have to leave your desk when you go and do that. It's all just there. You can make that setup process nice and fast. A credit card for the small charges that you will incur when you do set up something like I'll show you today. It's not going to cost you a bomb, but there are some costs, so you do want to have your business credit card handy so you can enable that process in the setup. And lastly, but most importantly, your page copy. It's really ideal to have that ready ahead of time, otherwise you'll have to do the content writing as you go, which can be a slow process. So if you can have it ready before you do the actual setup, it'll make the whole lot, you'll be able to blitz through it in no time. So what technology platform do we use? There's heaps of products out there that offer software as a service, all-inclusive website packages. There's a heap on the screen, up on the screen now, and whilst they're all really strong and have heaps of strengths that I would recommend in all sorts of scenarios, today's objective is to get up online selling relatively fast. I want to do it myself and I don't want to have to code. So for that to be achieved, I'm going to recommend today Shopify. Why Shopify? So Shopify is a online solution that is tailored for e-commerce, so selling your products online. It's currently offering a 90-day COVID trial. Their trials are normally 14 days, so this is a very generous trial, which is appealing to me. The admin area of Shopify is easy to use, and there's lots of free template themes available, so I can do it all at a really low cost. Plus their subscription model is very cost effective, and I can have a website running for under $100 in a month, which is really good. Plus, lastly, but not most importantly, payment methods. They have a built-in payment method in their system, so you don't have to go and talk to your bank and open a special account for collecting payments online. This comes with their service, which is pretty cool, and that is why you can do it so fast. Alright, cool. We know what platform we're using and we've got all our content ready. There's nothing stopping us now, so let's get into it. Let's do this. The first thing you want to do is go to the Shopify website and register. You can go to their homepage. You'll find a whole bunch of links to start your trial, which will take you to the domains page. It's a two-step form. It's really quite simple. You fill it out, and once you've been through that form, tell us about yourself, add an address so you can get paid. Then you'll enter into what they call your store, which is the administration area for Shopify. Now you don't have to pick a plan straight away, but I think because we're doing this in a day, I'm expecting to have my store launched in a few hours. So there's no reason to delay. I'm going to pick my plan now. I don't have to worry about that later. Cafe IRX has no heavy weight, no hard business requirements. Very simple site. So I'm going to go with the basic Shopify plan, which is $29 USD per month. If I had a bigger business with more complex requirements, I can choose a better option for that business model. There are some transaction rates that I should pay attention to in this tutorial, and that is that when you collect a payment by a credit card, there is going to be a percentage charge for that transaction of 1.75% plus a 30-cent charge for every transaction. And that's pretty standard across the board. You'll find that on pretty much all the credit card transaction facilities. So I'm not scared by that. I think that's fine. Shopify doesn't charge you a transaction fee specifically. It's just for the credit cards. So that's okay. So here we go. Here is the basic Shopify plan confirmation. And I'll just bring your attention to, on the right hand side, it says that I'm going to get charged in July 2020. I just wanted to highlight that because that's recognizing the 90-day trial period. So I'm not actually going to incur that charge, monthly charge, until after that date, which is pretty cool, even though I'm going to launch today. I've put my business credit card in at this point so that I can activate my website, because I can't activate my website without it. Alright, so we've signed up, we've picked our plan, we're good. This is the menu screen you'll see in the Shopify admin area. There's a whole bunch of options. I'll just read them out. So home, orders, products, customers, analytics, marketing, discounts, apps, and then there's a separate section called sales channels, online store. 95% of the work we're going to do to get set up is going to happen in that online store section. The only other part we're going to go into is products, and that's for adding our products. The rest of it all relates to once your store is up and running, the optimization and management of your online store. So when you go in, you'll see Shopify does a really good job of encouraging you through the process, and they'll recommend that you add a product, customize a theme, and add a domain. You don't have to do anything in that order, and in fact I'm going to recommend that we start with adding the domain. Adding a domain is a tangible step that feels real and is pretty motivating if you're doing it yourself. Once you tick that off, you go, oh yeah, cool, I've got my branded URL, and that's gonna be really great once my store's up and running, because I can advertise that. So I'm going to get my domain for Cafe IRX. We didn't have one existing. If we did have one existing, we could transfer that across. That's no worries at all. But we're new to online, we're starting up, so we're going to do a search now for Cafe IRX, and Shopify is going to show me all the different URLs, domain names that are available. I'm going to go with cafeirx.online. That's the cheapest, most relevant domain I could find. You can pick whichever one you want, it doesn't matter. And I've chosen this one because I'm doing everything very cost sensitive today. So I've picked the cheapest one, which is $11 USD, but it is still relevant for my business. So that's done. I've added my domain. It's a pretty simple step and relatively small charge. That charge is also an annual charge, so it's not a monthly charge. And I now know that that domain is mine, which is pretty cool. Step done. The next step, which is probably the most lengthy step in the whole process, is adding your content. And I'll go through that in a little bit of detail, but I won't bore you too much. So adding the content, we're going to go into two sections. We're going to first go into the pages section, which is down in the online store, and then that is where we'll go to add our page content. Remember how I said it's great to have it ready before you go through this process? So at this point, you just be choosing to add a page, and then you'd be pasting that content in. If you didn't have your content ready, you would just add your page and you would type it into the field there. So it would just take you a little bit longer. Plus, you may need to do a bit of spell checking, that sort of thing. A tip you might want to consider is to make sure that your search engine optimizations are completed. So that's a long word for your Google search engine performance. So you want to rank once your site's live, and to rank you need to have your titles of your pages and your meta descriptions of your pages filled out, and Shopify has all those fields there for you to do that. So don't skip that step, it's very important. Once you've got your page content in, then you're going to jump up into the products section up above and add all your products. So for Cafe IRX, we're adding our menu items, and I went through and did that already, so we don't have to bore you today with that every single detail. But we've added our products, and then if you needed to, you could also sort those products into what they call collections, and that's kind of like categories, so you can categorize your different products. You can also automate collections too, so you don't even have to do that step yourself. Alright, so our content's in, we've registered, we've got our domain, our content's in, our products are in. Now we want the website to look like Cafe IRX. We want to brand it, we want to have a nice shop front that our customers recognize and trust. So we're going to pick a template to do a template theme to do just that. Shopify has a theme section down in the sales online store area. So we're going to move from pages into themes, and that's where you'll be able to see that there's a default template theme already picked out for you, and that's Debut. But I don't want to use that one. I want to pick one that's better for my brand, so I'm going to customize, and I'm going to pick a theme called Simple. It's a free theme, so Shopify has a library of free resources available, but maybe one of those free resources doesn't quite meet your requirements. There are a whole heap of other template themes you can purchase for really, I think a really cost-effective price. I think most of them are around about 150 USD, and if you consider the time and energy that you'd normally put into doing one of those from scratch, that's cheap. So yeah, they're there and they're available. But for today, Cafe IRX, our objective is to do this on a shoestring budget. So we're going to choose a free one, and we're going to keep it really simple. We're choosing a simple theme today. So I've picked my theme, I've enabled my theme, and then I just need to go through the settings of that theme one by one and make sure that things are matching to my business brand. So I've uploaded my logo at this point, and I've filled out the welcome message, and I might have changed a couple colors that are available in this theme for me to edit, and I've done that. So that didn't take long at all. The theme editor won't let you do a whole heap, so you could actually find you're quite limited, but that's been done on purpose, so it's keeping it simple for you, the admin, so you're not stuffing it up and not feeling overwhelmed. Last part of kind of the content side of things is the navigation. So we need to build a menu in order for Shopify to completely work. So that is also in a separate section. So we move from the theme section at this point down into navigation, and then we build our navigation. So in this instance for Cafe IRX, we need two navigation menus. One is the main menu, the primary navigation, and that consists of our menu items, our about page, and our contact page. Plus, I'm opting to have a footer menu, and that's kept down at the bottom, so that if people are scrolling through my menu items, they can get to the bottom and still be able to access pages. It's also a good place to put content pages like your terms and conditions that don't necessarily need to be in your main menu. And this is just an example of Shopify's easy to use interface, quite simple to add and edit those menu items once my pages are set up. Step 6 is to test, polish, and launch. This is the last step in the process, but the most important one. So we've added our products, we've customized our theme, we have our domain, like it's all looking pretty good. We're really happy with it. We want to launch. So there's a couple of things we need to polish off first. We need to go into the general settings, and Most importantly, for Cafe RX, we need to make sure we've got a local pickup option and that our delivery fees are exactly right. So we're going to go and check all those settings. But there's also some other general settings you probably want to check at this point as well. And that's all done in the settings section. So we'll go into the shipping rate, we'll add our local pickup option, and we're going to make that free. We're not going to charge people to come and collect their own orders. And that's pretty simple. We're good, we're going to go, but we need to test. So test, test, test. Super, super important. Get your friends to check it, get your husband, get your wife, whoever, get them to check it. Check it on another computer, check it on a different phone, do a couple test orders. Just make sure everything's running smoothly. You might pick up on a setting you need to change at this point. And you want to do it now because you don't want a customer telling you about it if you can avoid it. And I suppose launching. So launching's super easy on the Shopify platform. It's got a setting in place called password protection on your store. So as soon as you sign up, your store is there, but you can't get to it without a password. So for the testing, you would just share your password with your testers in order to view your site as though it was live. But for it to go live, then you just need to disable that password. Simple step. So we're going to disable our password at this point, and yay, we're live. Done it. Here's the finished result. So this is Cafe RX, super simple, in the simple theme with its menu listed and content filled out, ready, off we go, we're in business. So that's all the steps. That's how you get set up online in a day without needing to code. And here's a few hot tips I just want to recap on. So have your pages and products ready to go. It'll make the process super smooth. You'll blitz through it, you'll be up and running in no time. Shopify is a great low-cost option. If you don't like Shopify, for whatever reason, there's plenty of other options comparable on the market. Happy to talk to you about those if you want to. Custom shipping is definitely a requirement for something like Cafe RX because you need that local pickup option, and you probably want to change your delivery fees in order to suit your market. So don't forget to do that before you launch. Keep it simple. If you're on a budget and you're time sensitive, don't overcommit yourself. Keep it really simple and you'll save a whole bunch of time. And test often before you launch. Couldn't just test and then you'll be fine. So if you've got to the end of this webinar and you've realized that whilst this solution is great, you could use it, it might not be the perfect fit for you and your business. I understand that. So feel free to come and talk to us about finding the most suitable platform for your needs. Or maybe you just need a bit of help. So a professional can really help you with certain things, like maybe you need to customize a theme slightly in order to match your branding guideline. So that's an example of when a professional might be worth getting involved with you. You may also need some help with custom integrations with your point of sale system, your customer relationship management systems. If you have those, getting them all to connect sometimes can be a bit confusing, and it can pay to have a professional involved to make sure that they're done right. A professional can also recommend which store optimizations are the best once your store's up and running. So optimizing is then the next most important thing. How you're going to optimize your store in order to make more sales. A professional can really help you with that. And also a couple more things. So content support. A lot of people get stuck with content. Not everybody's natural writers, I get that. So sometimes it pays just to outsource that step to a professional if you have the budgets. And last but not least, making the right technology choices. Shopify might not work for you. And how do you know that it is the right one? Then you can ask that advice of a professional like us. Cool, so that's kind of it for the actual run through on our training for today. I'm just going to check now and see if we've had any questions come through, and feel free to pop a question in now while I do that. Alright, so I'll just leave it there for today, and the end. I'm Jacinta Cali, Director of Internetrix. Thanks so much for joining me today. Super fun, and I hope to see you all again here again soon. See you later.